My next piece is called Who, and it's an exploration into a character called Who. It's about identity, and the inspiration behind this piece actually was experiencing the Burundian drummers. Some of them were not, a lot of them were not born in Malawi, but you can see the little kids that their culture is so in them, and probably they haven't even seen Burundi. And it's just amazing that their identity is so solid and is so inherent in them. So it's just a series of questions exploring a character called Who. Who is the beggar? Who sold his brother to his brother? Who later sold his brother to the trader? Who allowed the trader to rape his mother? Who was the older in their mother's womb? Who was to serve the younger? Who sold his birthright for his brother's stew? Who was his father's favorite and the hunter? Who are his generation? Who do they serve? Whose was the first civilization? Who has a mother they don't deserve? Who buys designer cotton skirts and shirts? Who wants to be more like the trader? Who can't the sun hurt? Who grew the same cotton in forced labor? Who mined the gold? Who dug the diamonds? Who buys the chains? Who buys the rings? Who buys the chains? Who calls it bling? Whose neck is bling? Whose wrist is bling? Who buys the same slave chain just with bling? Who kneels to others and disrespects his own brother? Who thinks he can't live without a bwana? Who has the strength but needs to work smarter? Who is the farmer whose only food is nsima? Who has the moves? Who owns the groove? Who has the power? Who has the voice? Who has the magic? Whose death is less tragic? Who is the face of AIDS? Whose AIDS brings aid? Who gets the aid? Who gets paid? Who pays with the aid to get laid? Who fuels this trade? Whose wife gets AIDS? Whose AIDS gets the maid? Who did Bob Marley say needed freedom from mental slavery? Who needs to heal from history? Who has peace but desperately needs unity? Who needs to stop selling self-pity? Who needs to write their own story like, who helped Christ carry the cross? Whose Pharaoh built the first glider? Whose Moors invaded Europe? Whose was the science, the math, and the study of stars? Who did the Greeks learn medicine from? Who lived in Nubia Kush? And who said it was a bush? Bush? Who really discovered the lake? Who told him, who claimed he did, what it was called? Who was evangelized? Whose culture was demonized? Who was later colonized? Who is the beggar? Who is not a lender? Who is the big spender? Who needs to know who better? Who needs to know what was given by his maker? Whose mother's land holds riches greater? Who has the wisdom and knowledge of the ancestors? Who stood for hope? Who will help who know who he is? Who will stand and lead who to how? And who is ready now?